Well, hi there.
How many great, or even good, sequels are there? 20? 15? Maybe less. I know many would include Godfather Part 2, Empire Strikes Back, Terminator 2, The Dark Knight. Would anybody include Dr. Sleep on their list? We're going to find out if any of us would. I'm Randy Kirk. Welcome to the table, everybody. Thanks for joining us again, and as always, I'm joined by my two comrades, Dewis, a.k.a. Uncle Dew.
Heyo.
And Steve.
Howdy.
This episode marks our final entry in our Stephen King series, and as you may have heard by now, we're all pretty big Stephen King fans, which is why I was more than a little surprised that Uncle Dew had not seen Dr. Sleep.
Shocking.
Dew, you're a big King fan, and you like The Shining, I think.
We're about to find that out, too.
I can't think of any reason why you would have missed this one, so kick it off and let us know why you never saw this.
I can't believe you've never heard me rant about how much I dislike The Shining.
Oh, here we go.
And how much I dislike Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick?
Yes, and The Shining. So that was my preconceived, right? This is a sequel to The Shining, and I fucking like Stephen King. Fun fact with Uncle Dew, I hated Shining the movie, and so
Right there with Stephen King, who hated the Shining movie.
But you hated Shining the book?
A little less. There's parts of it that I did enjoy, but I think it's that whole thing when you get a bad taste of something, right, in the grand universe of everything, that you're going to have a bad association with the rest of it. So, The Shining as a movie, everybody's over it. I do not like it. So
You're easily butthurt by things that make you
absolutely. Oh yeah, I wear my heart on my sleeve, but like if I do not like it, boo.
fuck that and everything that comes after it.
Yeah. So
now, The Shining it might be autobiographies excluded. It might be my favorite book of all time.
right, and I knew that about you.
I love it.
Because but also this is you said 2019. This is pre everything that is great about Mike Flanagan right now as the director, and so the guy who did Ouija, the guy who did Oculus.
You're
no
right.
thanks.
He had a lot to prove.
No, thank you. So like one Shining sequel, two. You know me, I don't search out for horror as a genre. Isn't something that I naturally go to. Thriller a little bit more so, but like I don't seek it out, and so Oculus, Ouija, I'm not going to seek that out. Mm-hmm. Same situation with Dr. Sleep. I'm not going to search this out if this is just like this.
Okay. Frage?
Well, as maybe people don't know, but you guys know how much I really dislike a sequel or a remake, but sequels in general. And, being a Stephen King, fanatic, I, much like Annie Wilkes, I slap my money down for the first copy every time that there's a new one, regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
So, when Dr. Sleep came out, 2013.
Yeah.
When
I have fun facts about the making of the novel, but not...
When the novel came out 10 years ago, as we record this, I thought, ooh, don't love a sequel. Mm-hmm. How are you going to, tie in The Shining? Like, ooh, I don't know, this is weird. But I'm going to buy it anyway. I'm going to read it immediately, and then you guys look like you're thirsty.
Well, and especially a sequel...
We're just going to crack into our non-sponsor, Hamm's, the beer refreshment.
Especially a sequel to, a book that was as iconic as The Shining.
Right, and the movie, which is also iconic. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to me, when I read the book, that Stephen King wrote a novel that is a sequel to his novel, and Mike Flanagan made a movie that is a sequel to the movie.
Yeah.
Which, in a way, I respect the hell out of, because, again, as an adaptation apologist, people go into the cinematic experience with a completely different view. there's a lot of people that have watched every Harry Potter movie
Yeah.
repeatedly
Yeah.
and have never read one page of a J.K. Rowling book.
Fucking throws me off.
Me too. And we have relatives and good friends that are in that group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, I look at it as, can you follow the story based on the images that you're shown?
Yeah.
You have to pretend the book doesn't exist, which I should say, I guess, that we're going to not make this, much like we did the last two. This isn't film and novel class. This isn't meant to be disparaging of the novel versus the book or a comparison of the two, even though we will bring it up because it's germane.
So
Yeah.
So spoiler alert, I didn't read the book. I didn't see this movie.
Yeah.
So
Which is how I was with Self.
the movie is the only version of Doctor Sleep that
That
I
you know. And you still have not read the book.
I am in the process. So I'm in the process of listening to it right now.
Okay, the audiobook,
Yeah,
right, because you love an audiobook.
I am enjoying
Yes.
it. God damn it.
So, but what I respect, what I was getting at is, Flanagan said, I'm going to respect the movie
Yeah.
that people love, and I'm going to tie that into this story, even though the story isn't really all that relative to the movie.
And he also tried to salvage some things that Kubrick kind of fucked up.
Right.
So he
And-
went back and tried to add in
So, yeah.
Yeah.
He essentially, and we're jumping around here because sorry gang, this is going to be a Mike Flanagan love fest from me, myself. I don't know if it's from you guys, but like, I'm going to sing the praises of Mike Flanagan this entire episode, so be on the lookout for that. So
Mike Flanagan, if you're listening, please follow us on Twitter.
Love you,
probably
Mike.
would. So, fun fact with Uncle Do, the whole okay to get Dr. Sleep to be made, no reference to The Shining, the movie, was supposed to be made. And Flanagan went to King and went, I know you don't want The Overlook. I know you don't want anything from Kubrick. But we have to make... Because this is one of those
We have
divisive...
to right the wrongs, so to
Right.
speak.
This is the divisive book, right? Like, you're either Shining book or Shining movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Well, I don't think you're one or the other, but you definitely...
In that terrible fucking fandom, it really is this way. It's almost like...
And then there's the smart people like
Right.
us who go,
Yes.
yes, both
I was
are-
going to say,
both are
because I
great.
Right,
love both
so-
for what they are.
So part of his thing was he went back and he goes, this is what I want to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I want to connect it because we have to pay lip service. And so I think we can achieve that by doing X, Y, and Z. And King went, fuck, how am I a fan of The Shining now?
Right.
Like,
Well, Stephen King also gladly will just take the royalty checks. He's famous for this. Like, oh, you're going to make my movie? Great. Just pay me. I'll be over here writing my next book.
To Randy's point, though, from a few episodes ago, or last episode, I can't remember.
Yeah.
You said that he is a lot more guarded with his legacy
Yeah.
in the last 10 years. And I don't think that is our Stephen King anymore. I think after it happened, and how well it did, and how well they did with it, he went, okay, I'm trusting this a little bit more, because now we don't have things
it's-
like Cell.
It's the fanboys like us
Right.
who hold his career and his legacy so highly, so high up that he knows, or hopefully, like you said, trusts that they'll do it justice.
So I'm pretty sure you both know this. The way that Dr. Sleep came up is somebody in a Q&A said, what would happen to Dan? What's going on with Danny right now? And King went, what if Danny and the little girl from Firestarter knew each other or were in a relationship? That's fascinating. And so, like, that all came from that. And that was like, fuck, okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, that's fun. And also, making a sequel to the movie The Shining, because it kind of this story only could really work like that. I think Stephen King put it best when he said that the book The Shining ended in fire, and the Kubrick movie ended in ice.
Yeah.
So they were two totally different endings.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
Which, by the way, completely changes the concept of this entire movie,
Yeah.
Doctor Sleep. With, and not necessarily for the worse either, as we're going to get into. But Rand, I don't believe that you ripped off a preconceived notion. Now you brought this to the table, and you've seen it more than both of us. Dew had never seen it.
Yeah.
I saw it in the theater when it was brand new, but that was it. You own it. You've watched it.
You have a director's cut. I haven't seen the director's cut yet.
Saw it in the theater, then I watched the director's cut when I bought it, and then now this time we watched the theatrical. So this was my third time watching it, and I
guess it's not preconceived notions; it's just notions, right? At this
Right,
point.
but I was I guess preconceived going into it because I bought the book Dr. Sleep when it came out, and I got probably a quarter of the way through it, and then I put it down and I never finished it.
Oh,
I'm prone to do that, but so going into it, I had a little bit of an idea of what the story was going to be, and I always had intended to go back and read the book. But then when the movie came out, I was excited, and bringing it to the table this time, I was just as excited because I know how much I like the movie.
you were very excited to offer this one up.
And I was excited for Dew. You had never seen it.
Yeah.
It shocks me. So, I was really excited to bring this one. So that was it coming into it this time.
Well, and I'm also new to the table when it comes to the greatness that is Mike Flanagan. I was only aware of him because I am used to a lot of his ensemble guests that he uses over and over again. I follow them in a separate way, and then my only interaction with Mike Flanagan prior was through social media. And then after a few social media posts, which I just recently shared with you guys,
Please follow us on Twitter, Mike Flanagan.
Come on, Mike.
if need be, I can also post the link in our socials, in which Mike Flanagan shows the great care and
Attention to detail
that he plays a part of in every one of his projects.
I'm not going to lie. This might be the only Mike Flanagan thing I've ever seen.
And okay.
That's a little surprising.
Unless I just am unaware.
Well, Midnight Mass is the first actual, besides Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
I watched the first episode just the other night, and this is my second Mike Flanagan.
It's
and
funny
this
because
is
I
fantastic.
think almost everything that Flanagan has done, I've watched when it's new.
Yeah.
And that goes back to Oculus.
But that's not because of Mike Flanagan.
Not
That's
because-
because you just like stuff and you want to watch everything.
Yeah.
It's in the horror, and
So
so
when
Randy
Oculus
Kirk's gonna
came
watch
out, it was like, okay, we'll go see this. When Ouija came out, I was interested. All right, I'll see Ouija. But then I was really interested when he did The Haunting of Hill House.
Sure.
And I love The Haunting of Hill House. When he did Bly Manor, I didn't love that one as much. I actually probably liked the story more for
Sure.
Bly Manor, but I didn't. Execution-wise, man.
I started Bly Manor and I turned it off after like the first episode.
Oh, really?
So maybe I did. I didn't like it at all.
Maybe a revisit?
Ah,
And then Midnight Mass,
never watched it.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
I might like it.
I don't know if I loved
I
it.
picked
but-
this one because the description kind of was in my wheelhouse. It's that mysterious stranger sort of situation from that first episode. I didn't read up anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw the cast list. I saw the description in the Netflix, and I just jumped in and I went, oh, this is shades of Salem's Lot. This is
Yep.
shades of Storm of the Century. I'm in it to win it.
Right. That's kind.
Yeah.
You put those two together. It's kind of
Yeah, and so like sign me up. And after that first episode, I was like, okay, if I wasn't tired and sleepless, like I could sit through another 2 of these episodes right
Yeah.
away.
All right. Well, I'm going to check it out then, based on this recommendation from both of you.
Yeah, you'll like it, I think.
You brought
Okay,
it
so
to the table.
as you know, our format is we do sort of an Oscar sort of situation. We borrow from IMDb, so we start mainly our episodes through technical sort of situations. So technically, what do you guys think of Dr. Sleep?
Well, there's a lot of things. Notably,
Sorry, I didn't mean to step on toes if that was stepping on toes. Right?
Not at all.
Okay.
no, yeah, we're all friends here. Sometimes. Well, I think
Most times.
I think, notably for me, literally when you push play, the very first thing that you hear is the score from The Shining.
Yes.
Which, The Shining, the movie. I think that that immediately, A, is brilliant because it's a sequel to The Shining, so you have that callback. But also, that particular sound, whatever note that is, that bong, is like, it just immediately takes you to the Kubrick film.
Yeah.
And it gives you a feeling of dread, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're in from the beginning. And
And they changed it, like, it doesn't last very long. It's only like 5-6 seconds before they switch to the Dr. Sleep score.
Yeah.
But it was just enough to make you go, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
But then it switches to the pattern on the carpet, and at first, the title sequence, I'd forgotten about that. And I didn't like it at first.
Okay.
But then I forgot that it does bleed into the carpet, and you see Danny riding his tricycle. So I didn't mind it as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. The sound brought you in, and then you see the pattern on the carpet, and immediately you're brought back to the Overlook. And it was pretty cool.
So fun facts with Uncle Duke. Like I said, we're gonna be praising the detail-oriented Mike Flanagan in this. He rebuilt from the original specs the Overlook. Every set that Kubrick made that had to do with Overlook and what he was going to use in Dr. Sleep, he remade.
Which is funny how much you praise that, but when I bring up Jim Cameron remaking the Titanic, you just shit all over it. Because he did the exact same thing, and you're like, fuck that guy.
For all the
Go
listeners,
ahead.
Dew's expression is just no-selling the hell out of it.
Go ahead.
Fuck
Sorry.
Jim Cameron. Just the sheer amount of, one, being able to get into the fucking Kubrick archives.
It felt like you were on the set of the Shining movie.
And so...
And how crazy is it that he still had access to these blueprints
Right.
all these fucking years later?
Right, well, like, I don't know, did you guys ever see the documentary where it's like, it talks about the making of The Shining? And
Yes.
237 or whatever.
yeah, and it goes off on a real crazy fucking thing.
Yep. It's interesting. It's weird, but it's interesting.
I watched it only because my venom for Kubrick just needed a little bit of more
A recharge?
fuel. Yeah, a little bit more fuel, and I
You
was
needed
like,
more steam?
yeah.
Ah.
I do want to preface this. Barry Lyndon might be one of the most technically beautiful films in the history of film, right? He got lenses specifically so that all he had to use was natural light to shoot. So the few not batshit crazy, absolutely psychopath that he was,
I don't like him either, just for the record. but
the
you're-
Barry Lyndon side of it, I'm okay. I'm like,
You are.
okay, that's pretty fucking cool. Everything else about it, fuck him. He's a goddamn just.
I love Clockwork Orange. You don't? Oh, God.
I don't love it either.
I love it.
It's fine, but I don't love it.
It's once again, it's the fan.
I did revisit Eyes Wide Shut recently, and it was better than I remembered.
I like that, too. Yeah.
So I would say The Shining and that one are probably my favorites. I'm sorry, we digress.
So
Awesome recreation of The Shining set.
Mike Flanagan went in this, and it's more fun facts with Uncle Duke. He went in this.
That should
he
be the
goes,
name of the show at this point.
Well, when something's as detailed as Dr. Sleep, like, there's going to be a lot of facts.
Oh, yeah, when we do that episode on Titanic, I'm going to blow your mind.
I don't think we're ever going to...
No, let's go on.
We've all seen that movie, so I think we're okay. We don't ever have to bring that to the table.
Got it.
So, oh no. I'm so sad about that. Although I did tell you within the last month that I may revisit it only
Please do,
because
please do.
of the Ghosts of the Abyss.
Got it.
Only because.
Skip over Leonardo DiCaprio the entire time.
Note that I had about the recreation of the set. Something that I thought was a little odd was Dr. Dalton's office being recreated to look like Stuart Ullman's. You know, that was weird. You know, because the office was clearly at the Overlook, and this is his doctor's office.
I love it.
It's just weird that it was an exact copy.
I didn't notice that, honestly.
You didn't?
No, I didn't
Yeah.
pick up on that.
Oh.
I didn't love that only because they were two totally different rooms, and it was just coincidental that they looked exactly alike.
So Mike
I didn't love
Flanagan
it.
in interviews had said he didn't want you to look for Jack Nicholson or
Right.
Shelley Duvall or whatever. He wanted you to get the feel of that from The Shining.
Right.
And
Get
the
that.
same thing with The Office. He wanted you to get the feel from The Shining without it being smacking you in the face. If he couldn't use the actors from them,
Right. I think they wanted Nicholson.
Oh,
but
yeah.
He was too old.
right? If they couldn't use and poor Shelley Duvall. Whew.
Well, you're right. She's a hot mess. By the way, can I just say, I know we're skipping around. The gal that they got to play the Shelley Duvall character fucking phenomenal.
Yes.
The accent.
She sounded just
Yeah.
like her.
I'm talking like identical.
I don't know if they used audio from
No, that
Duvall.
was her. That
No,
was her.
because she was spot on.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
And to your point, the Halloran felt like Halloran, but even though you knew it wasn't, you felt like you were with that character.
Yeah.
And same thing with Nicholson.
Oddly enough, I was okay with it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
weird because you know, Scatman is just such a. He's so unique. And,
You wanted the feel of that character, right?
Right.
That's what he said. You're not going to get
And he
Scatman,
got it, yeah.
But you're going to
Absolutely.
get that feel of, oh my god.
Like, I thought the Nicholson was good. I thought they were all good, but
we're
even
going to
the-
get to the writing eventually. Oh,
Even-
the Scatman scenes. Woo!
even little Danny was believable and
Oh, yeah.
But that the Shelley Duvall comp was fucking 10.
So impressive.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's an acting thing. We're
No,
talking
no, no, no.
technical
Yeah,
stuff.
no, technical.
So,
like,
yeah,
whatever.
They used
Yes. Yeah, got it.
so that
Casting, technical.
the only time I found myself wanting movement is some of the Abby scenes. We kept going back and visiting her, and like interactions with the parents. There was some that I was like, okay, we know that they think she's strange or weird. I don't care about the parents.
I thought they did a good job with that, especially when you know, the dad found out that, you know, Danny was like talking to her. He's
Yeah.
like, you know, she's 13, and you know, it's
That was a
obviously-
great scene.
I
Right.
thought that was really well done because clearly they understand that she's got this thing, but they don't realize
She
that,
didn't.
they don't realize that the rest of the world has it.
Every time.
You groundskeeper Willie?
Groundskeeper Willie.
I like that was a surprise, and you know, he was genuinely surprised that there are other people out there with the same ability that she has.
And
So-
how great was it that Abra was the one who pushed him to realize, like, because she'd been keeping it from them.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not keeping it from them, but really kind of hiding the extent to which she was
How powerful she was,
knowledgeable
yeah.
and whatever. And she was like, all right, it's time. Like, here it is, all in, Dad.
Yep.
I can look what I can do. Even the scene that, as a kid with the spoons was like, you know.
Yeah, that was a great scene. I mean, I think I understand. Like, there are a few things in there because they mentioned Momo, the grandma, which I know she plays a larger part in the book.
Yep.
But you know, it's like, why is it there in the movie? If you're not
Yeah.
going to expand on the
Yeah.
Momo thing, like,
Right, cut it out.
It's not
Right.
necessary.
And, you know, again, there's a lot of differences. And
Well,
this
they-
book is very different than the movie. But
They give a lot of wink and they give little wink and nods to the book, right? Like,
Sure.
you know, this is Uncle Danny or Uncle Dan. You know, it's a lot more widened in Doctor Sleep the book than, you know, just that wink and nod in the actual.
But again,
film.
we're making
Right,
a sequel
right,
to the
right,
movie,
right.
so it really is like this
It's
is
believable.
This is really one of the coolest adaptations that blends all the important plot points from the novel, but yet is a direct sequel to a movie that wasn't a direct comp of its novel.
I'm not going to bury the lead here at all. Like, since it won, I thought it won was one of the most perfect Stephen King adaptations on film ever. But Doctor Sleep, hands down, just like the sequel to The Shining and just everything. Like, this might be like in my top 10 Stephen King films.
Films? Okay.
Yeah.
That's that. All right, yeah, you're burying the lead a little bit. But
Yeah,
that's
sorry,
it's all right.
guys, sorry.
No, it's fine.
I'm
You know what?
really
Okay,
over
glad
yeah.
you did.
Spoiler
Dr.
alert:
Sleep.
we all love this movie,
Yes.
so we're just going to jack off about it for another
Yeah.
40 minutes. So
Yeah.
pardon us.
So before we get too far off of recreation, one scene that I thought was really cool that Flanagan recreated was from Frankenstein. You know,
Yeah.
where Rose the Hat is at the
yeah.
water and she's showing the little girl flowers, and obviously that's a clear, you know, homage to Frankenstein. And I thought that was so cool, so well done.
Flanagan also brings a lot of himself in his works, right? Like
Casablanca.
Casablanca,
Yeah.
Frankenstein, all of his favorite sort of things, and
That scene in particular with Rose and Violet at the beginning,
Yeah.
is it was a wonderful setup to just how nefarious this group
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Because the Violet character,
Psychic
what is she,
vampires.
5,
Yeah.
4?
Yeah, right, yeah.
And she's so sweet and innocent, and to your point, much like the Frankenstein, only the problem is Rose actually is a monster, unlike Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And you know, you have the scene where she turns around and there's the rest of the true knot like evenly spaced in the trees, and you're like, holy fuck, what's going to happen?
And it was perfect because it was point of view, where you look over and you see one, and she says, oh, that's just my friend. And then, all right, pay attention to me. And then she looks over again, and there's 6 of them there.
Right.
And you're looking at it through the eyes of this, 4 or 5-year-old girl. It was awesome.
Yeah. And then I've said for years and years, they don't kill kids very often.
No.
It's just a thing. They'll kill dogs in every movie.
Oh, yeah.
But people are very afraid to kill a child in a movie. Just, I don't know, it's social code or something.
I completely forgot about a fun fact with Uncle Drew, but now when we get to acting, oof.
Yep. All right, we'll get there.
Let's play. We can, whenever. Yeah.
Well, I have another recreation scene that I want to talk about in just a second. But the fact that they kicked off the movie with "Let's kill a kid," like what? Talk about setup. Oh, what the hell do we have here? What I was going to say, and it's towards the end of the movie in the Overlook. You've got the scene where Ewan McGregor is backing up the stairwell with the axe.
Yeah.
And I really disliked that. I'm just going to say it right now. I thought it was way too, on the nose. Like, you don't need to recreate The Shining shot for shot. In particular, when you flash back and show the recreation of The Shining shot in the same shot.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, we get it. We've all loved The Shining for 40 years. You don't have to show us the shots. We know the shots.
Yeah, I remembered that scene going into it, and it did feel a lot more on the nose than I remembered.
Right.
Where it's like, not necessary. They could have been in a hallway or whatever. Yeah.
I don't know. It was just, that was one thing that I thought was too much for me.
I think it was too much, too.
Yeah.
Not that it was bad.
No,
it was just too much.
I do have to say, when they went to Overlook is when they started to lose me a little bit.
Okay, well, and a fun fact, well, not really, but you're just now learning in the novel that completely doesn't exist.
Right.
Because in The Shining, if you've read that or listened to it,
right,
The Shining blows up. Mm-hmm. Right, much like the ending of this movie.
Right.
They went, oh, let's try to piece it together.
Yeah. Let's fix the wrongs that were done.
So The Shining blows up in the original novel.
Right.
Which means that in this novel, there is no Overlook to go to.
Right.
So that's, the evil that lives at that location becomes the home of the campground of the True Knot. Yeah. So that's like their home base.
Sure.
Which is fine.
I like that more than what the True Knot are here, though.
Sure, but I actually think that going back to the Overlook, because in the movie, the Overlook doesn't blow up.
Right.
So in the movie world, the Overlook is still there, so why not use it?
Right.
I think
and that's what Flanagan...
And I love that, and I respect that decision.
Yeah.
But it's just a huge change.
Sure.
But again, movie following movie, not book following book.
Yep.
So,
and he tied it together well enough. Mm-hmm. It was perfectly believable that's where they would end it.
And I think the movie ending is a better ending than the book ending.
Do you want to get into acting?
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Rebecca Ferguson.
Oh my god.
The Bene Gesserit witch from Dune. Fucking didn't know she was the bad guy in this.
Dude.
I've never seen Dune, and I never will. But
my god.
I mean, she nailed this.
I'm a fan of her in Dune, and I'm even more of a fan of her in this. Fact...
Go ahead.
Go ahead. The fact that Flanagan...
telling himself, yeah, you go ahead.
Flanagan gave her this freedom to go, okay, this is what the True Knot are. Mm-hmm. This is the idea of the True Knot. What are you going to wear? What are you going to shop for when you go to a store?
The hat is perfect.
Right.
The loose,
this is all decisions she got to make because she was taking from victims as she went through.
The hat is, directly described that way in the book, so that's good.
But yeah, I thought that was great. She was great. Every single thing that she did was just perfect in this movie. Mm-hmm. I agree with you 100%. And, I mean, so she was great just as a take charge villain. Mm-hmm. But then when members of the True Knot are getting killed off and she's feeling that pain.
Oh my god, she was perfect.
God. I mean, chills just even thinking about this right now. Yeah. Everything that she did was wonderful.
The effect, walking it back a second to the special effects, the effect that they did with, in particular, Grandpa Flick, because it was the first one,
Yeah.
but then all of the subsequent ones, where, like, the Grandpa Flick, he was actually, like, flickering, and you saw, like, skeleton, like, it was so well done for being a digital effect.
Well, that whole
And the blend, like, the dissolving into steam.
that whole like psychic energy to me, like the kind of shades back to that's like the anti John Coffey, right? John, when he takes the disease or takes that badness out, it's those dead flies.
Yep.
When it's these psychic vampires and they're taking the goodness out, this psychic power, it's shine, right? It's that brightness, and so it's the antithesis of John Coffey, and it's the same thing.
Look at you getting deep.
That is the most astute observation you've ever made, and I want to kiss you on the mouth.
So I also bring this up because Danny says when he's talking about Mrs. Torrance and her passing and how he couldn't look at her because all he saw was death flies, Danny sees the John Coffey bits, right?
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Like it's like, of course, this all just, it's me and the injury. Like I said,
You love the interlacing.
I love the universe of
Whole new light.
yeah. Sorry.
No, but yeah, you bring up the Grandpa Flick when he's dying there, and like as soon as he's gone, the True Knot, everybody just comes in and just starts taking that steam, and how amazing was that shot?
Oh yeah.
It was really good. And, I was kind of thinking about the nature of sequels and how you can't just, well, you can absolutely just remake the first one because we've seen it in horror 100,000 times.
Yep.
You don't have an original idea. Stephen King, however, doesn't do sequels very often, but every time he does, typically it's a character from the original that's grown up, moved on, whatever, and there's some sort of completely different thing going on in the world that they have to overcome. And it's almost unrelated to, the things that happened in the original one. And that's kind of the way this is. Like, yeah, the evil was tied together, but like the whole concept of these, whatever you called them, vampires, like,
vampires,
right?
yeah.
I don't know. Like, it kind of took the idea from the place and made it about the nation, and in a completely different way. And it's like, oh, that's different. And in a way, this movie kind of just felt like a straight up drama for the first 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It didn't, like, obviously there was some thriller elements to it, but it didn't have the feeling of horror and dread that The Shining gave you from minute one.
Right.
It was a completely different style of movie. And to me, it kind of comes to a head about 90 minutes in or so when there's the big, shootout in the woods.
Yeah.
And Abra's kidnapped. And all of a sudden, you're like, those are hold your breath moments.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, I've got a thriller on my hands now.
Yeah, 'cause in The Shining, we don't see Jack Torrance, the monster. We see him as just, all right, he's getting a job to support his family.
Right.
But from really minute one, we do see Dan Torrance, the alcoholic.
Yeah.
And we see him, at his lowest moments.
Right.
Which, they say that alcoholism is hereditary, so
Sure.
it's a great tie-in.
Yeah.
And holy fuck, the scene where he's with the girl and the kid comes in,
Yeah.
and you're like, it is a heartbreaking scene. I don't have empathy for anybody, and that scene, like, broke my heart.
It's right up there, the ATM episode on Breaking Bad.
Yes!
Pinkman with
Yeah.
the kid. Oh my god. It's right up there with that.
Like, he, the struggle of, like, should I even put the money back? Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's a perfect scene.
Oh,
It's a
absolutely.
perfect scene.
I did like that Halloran did make an appearance for that. It's like,
Hey,
can't
Doc,
even just
what you
leave-
doing? Yeah.
Can't
Right.
even leave the money. But then you were talking about straight up drama, and I forget where it's at timeline wise, but where when Dan first sees, like, he feels the arm around him on the bed, and
Yeah.
it's the girl, and then you see the dead baby
Right.
on the bed,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like, oh man, that's
That is
that's a
dark.
scary
It's
image.
Dark.
Yeah.
It is dark.
They just went, like, we killed kids in the first
Right.
5 minutes. You're going to see dead kids the rest of the time.
And then, speaking of scary imagery, just because I made a note of it, so the imagery of the woman in the bathtub. I mean, she's brought up several times. throughout.
It's almost too much.
Almost
Yeah.
too much. But the first time that we do see her at the very beginning when Dan's a kid, scary. I mean, I think even scarier than in The Shining.
Well, right. And
I
he
would agree.
walks in to face the fear, and I'm like, what the
Right.
fuck?
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, you see it because I guess it makes it even more scary. Because
Yeah, sorry.
makes
My
it
what
even-
the fuck just blew this.
it makes it even more scary because when you see the woman in the bathtub at the Overlook, she's at the Overlook. She's not at your home.
Right.
But when we see her in Dr. Sleep here, she's in Dan's
The dead
apartment.
still,
And it's like,
haunted.
that's
Yeah.
scary. You
Yeah.
shouldn't be here.
Right.
Yeah.
And the concept of the boxes is really great.
yeah.
Well, yes, I love the concept of the boxes. However, throwback a little bit to Dreamcatcher, where we've got that, where you get the files, the
Yeah.
cabinets, and again, King ripping himself off a little bit.
Well, it's the universe and the world, right? They're like, it's that big picture shit. In Dreamcatcher, it's implied that Mr. Gray, is the same sort of being that it is.
Right.
And so, with you saying the book, Dr. Sleep, the True Knot manifest at where the Overlook was.
Correct.
Totally makes sense to me in the universal way where maybe the True Knot are agents of a creature or being like it or Mr. Gay. And so, of course, just like Derry is, Shining is a beacon where this evil is and where that energy gets fed off from. So I'm a little bit more okay with like the whole, we keep it boxes, because I'm like, I get the shared universe, I get the ideas,
Yeah, I get that too, and that's why I don't mind it. But it's
Right.
just him kind of taking,
Right.
borrowing from himself. Really.
Yeah. Okay. Jacob fucking Tremblay.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
With the goddamn sleeper. Holy fuck, Jacob Tremblay's in this movie?
I know.
Like,
He's so great, isn't he? Like everything he's ever done.
the way he dies in it, it is said he scared the fuck out of everybody on set.
I'm so glad that you had a fun fact with Uncle Doo there.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
I read that too, and it was just like, because I guess Rebecca Ferguson had to stop.
Yeah.
Because she was flubbing her lines and said, is he okay?
Like, he was so believable. And just like from the room and everything else, this fucking powerhouse that will continue to just be great in everything that he does, because I think that's how great he is as an actor.
He was in The New Little Mermaid, right?
Right.
Isn't he one of the voices?
He's Flounder.
Flounder, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a Tremblay fan,
I've been since The Room,
Yeah. And so, like, this just confirmed everything from The Room, so on and so forth.
a great
Wonder. Holy
Yeah.
shit, this kid.
I know, and when I saw it, I was like, wait, is that Jacob Tremblay? And I was like, it is! And holy shit, he steals the show.
Right.
Again.
Right.
Because he does it everything.
And we're just like, what are you fucking talking about? I was like, the kid from Room! And she's like, oh no shit! And I was like, I didn't know he was in this. like it was just pleasant surprise.
Also, I mean, if we're talking about the casting and the acting, the Dr. Crow character, I spent the first half of the movie thinking that it was Benjamin Bratt. I'm like, that's the guy that was with Julia Roberts, right? And then I was like, oh wait, no, this is like some Native American guy.
He's a native actor. He's in fantastic now indigenous-led films and televisions. He's in Reservation Dogs. Fantastic show. We watched the first 6 episodes.
I would
on
like to watch
Hulu.
it. Yeah.
It's fantastic. I'm a mark for Taika Waititi, and I liked
Oh, same.
Crow as a character and everything, and I was like, oh, just getting into his backstory. Like, I love the minutia of shit like this. Like you have this immortal set of people. Like, sign me up. I want to know each and every where they came from, how they got to be this, and get me there. Like, absolutely. Like, I'm in it to win it. Like, Dr. Sleep could be 2 fucking books, and I'd be like, okay, give me a True Knot only fucking Rise of the Big Bads.
Right.
That would be
book.
great.
Yeah.
That would be super interesting. And I remember when I read it that I was like not that thrilled with the concept, But then as I went along, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty darn good. And, you know, Stephen King has a way of telling a story unlike anybody else and drawing you in to even things that you don't think you're going to like.
Well, you know, like, you probably got sick and fucking tired of it, but when we were reading Fairy Tale...
Yep.
And I kept messaging... We
read it at the same time.
Right, I kept messaging you going, this is near us. Where do you think this is? Is this Sycamore?
Right.
Because there's always some sort of realism within the areas that King writes his stories.
Yeah, and that Fairy Tale was set in a small suburban Chicago farmland town, and we're like trying to guess which one it was based on.
Because a lot of our hometown areas are mentioned in it.
Right.
And so, like, Elgin and...
it's so cool that King has that awareness.
The mall, Woodfield Mall, is and he talks about Woodfield and all that area, and Schaumburg, and I'm like, okay, let's pinpoint.
Right, let's figure it out. It's 6 miles from Wisconsin border.
Because, like, I'm getting deep in that universe. I'm going for it. Like, this is a king. This is a new king. Ooh, you know, like, just full. Like, this is in my backyard. This makes me even more fucking into it. And so, like, with Dr. Sleep, I committed to it the whole way. And I'm like, I want more.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
One of the really cool things, maybe it's not cool, one of the things about King novels is that a lot of it takes place in the mind, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, here you have people literally jumping into the minds of other people. So how do you film that?
Yeah.
And I thought that it might be a little weird, right? Like when I was watching this, even the first time, and I couldn't remember how they did it necessarily. Like the chalkboard thing I'd forgotten about that. That was fun. But the scene, the first time that Abra and Rose get into each other's minds in the grocery store.
Yeah.
And they do that revolving room gimmick.
Oh.
And then it dissolves into the other one, and she's in the grocery store and she's looking into the bedroom. I was like, this is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
You couldn't make this any better.
So hopping back to Preconceived. So in the trailer, the blackboard was predominant, and red rum was predominant. And so when I saw that in that trailer, that was a big nope.
Hard no for you.
Yeah, because you're taking it straight to Kubrick, and no thank you.
Interesting.
So that's another reason why I didn't. But fun fact with Uncle Duke.
Go for
it. I don't know if this is in your fun facts. They got a special like coach to work with the True Knot on what puppetry would look like for them controlling other people's minds, other people, like when the one who's like who can, what's her name, something Annie?
Snakebite.
Snakebite. So when Snakebite does her thing, like they worked with everybody in the True Knot. If you're controlling a person, this is what that possibly would look like, and this is how you would do it, and so on. Like the detail.
Tangential to that, how about the scene where Crow has Abra kidnapped in the backseat, and Dan goes into her mind, and she's speaking as him?
Yeah.
How perfect. Like, you could tell that she was speaking like Ewan McGregor. Like, it was using his...
The young lady that they use.
For Abra?
Yeah.
She was perfect.
She was great.
Oh, just the casting all through it. I was like...
And I've been a Ewan McGregor fan for forever. I don't even know... I don't know which was my first one.
Yeah.
What's the one, the Danny Boyle one?
Trainspotting.
That's it.
Yeah.
That might have been my first exposure to him.
Sure.
That definitely was mine.
And obviously, he's been exposing himself in every movie since then. Ewan McGregor is as naked in films as oh god, I don't know.
The day is long.
What's the girl with the tits out all the time?
Yeah, Naomi Watts.
That's right.
Naomi Watts.
Every movie, she's got her tits out.
You're a big racist nipples.
You got it. That sons of bitches are an inch long.
But yeah, Ewan, I mean, like you said,
Naomi Watts.
He knew exactly what it was.
I know.
She exposes a lot. But Ewan, as great as he is, and I think we've all been...
Uncle Two's having a grabber over here.
We've all been a fan of Ewan's for a very long time. But he is terrific. And I think that he uses his everyman quality completely to his advantage, especially in something like this.
List of actresses that take their kid off Naomi Watts.
Naomi Watts.
At the top of the list.
Everyone.
But I think Ewan. I mean, he is that. He embodies that everyman. Where this Dan Torrance, he could be your uncle. He could be your cousin. I think it was great. So
And he played a really good alcoholic.
Tortured
Yeah.
Yes.
Dan Torrance.
Yes.
is.
It was wonderful.
Well, it doesn't he himself suffer from some sort of addiction problem?
I don't know that.
yeah.
You may.
I can't remember. That's not in my phone. I don't go into people's deep dark like that. So,
You just did?
well,
liar.
but you're right though. He just personifies torture from everywhere. Just he's feeling it from his family side. He's feeling it from his physical power. He's feeling it from the fucking Overlook.
And when he is Dr. Sleep, when he's in the nursing home
Yeah.
with the patients, I mean, how great is that? How comforting is those scenes were so well done.
Yes.
That,
They were.
the whole cat thing.
The cat
and,
thing,
oh,
yes. The cat thing
because
is
that's
great.
true to life. Because King came up with that because he heard about a story about the cat who fucking lives in the nursing home and announces when somebody's going to fucking die.
Yeah.
But
everything about those scenes just felt
Genuine?
genuine.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep,
And I'm
100%.
like, I'm there. And also kind of like you're talking about in the whatchamacallit, the King universe.
Yeah.
Kind of like Green Mile-ish,
Yeah.
where, I mean, not really.
he's the anti-coffee.
Yeah, but I felt a little bit of that there. I don't know if I was supposed to, but I got that. I picked up
Yeah.
on some Green Mile.
Yeah. It was very, very well done.
Well,
All of
that whole thing where I feel bad, at my mother's end of her life because all I was seeing were the flies of death. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't look at her in the face because I was so troubled. And it was just like, fuck.
Yeah, that's scary.
It is scary and heartbreaking.
Right. I couldn't offer my mother the same solace that I'm offering these people in this nursing home because of my torture.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
But I don't know. I don't have a lot more notes. Anybody have anything else that they wanted to go over?
There's I wrote down a quote, and honestly, I don't remember if it was from the novel, if it was from The Shining, if it was written for this. I don't know. It's the scene where Ewan McGregor's sitting at the bar talking to his dad, or Grady, or whatever.
Yeah.
And he spouts off the man takes a drink takes a drink, drink takes a man. If that's not the fucking succinct epicenter of this entire life, I don't know what is. In 3 sentences, I went, Stephen King is God.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect line. And Henry Thomas, I thought, did a great job of playing Jack. Or not a perfect likeness, but
Sure.
I think he kind of embodied the Jack Torrance, Jack Nicholson.
I guess we should mention, if you didn't know, that the kid that played Danny in the original film came out of retirement for a cameo in this
Made
film.
a cameo, yeah.
I thought that was kind of fun.
Dr. Sleep was like his 3rd movie of all time. I
Right.
think, yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the dads at the baseball game, right?
Yeah.
I don't know which one.
I don't either. I tried to spot him, but I should have looked it up. But
There's so many references to Dark Tower in this, it's not even funny. The bus company is Catet Transit.
Oh, really?
And that has to do with the Catet Industries from Dark Tower. In Abra's room, there's a K and an A.
Oh,
for
right,
Ka.
for Ka, right.
And then,
Which is in like every Stephen King story ever.
Right, and then there's a line that the Mr. whatever his name is, the Scatman Crothers role, he says, it's all about our Ka, Danny. Or Ka has a funny something or other.
Sure.
And I'm just over there like Dark Tower fanboy going, just all of the little nods and ha-has to Dark Tower. I'm like, oh. And this is before Mike Flanagan announced that he has the rights to Dark Tower.
Oh, so you're just got a hard on for that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so so going into it, because this was so farther after finding out that news and seeing Dr. Sleep, I was like, oh, that's why he's doing this. He's I was turning into a fucking just fanboy idiot over all of it. And so I'm excited. Like I said, I can't put over this movie enough.
And because they changed the end, third of the story to match the movie, they also changed the ending. In the book, Danny lives
yeah.
and goes on to be sober and
Yeah.
continues his lifestyle. But
Thanks, spoiler alert! I got a whole other 8 hours. No, I'm kidding. I knew that.
I think it's interesting that in the movie they had him, kind of martyr himself.
Yeah.
Which really is, poetic in a way.
Yeah.
Because this ending to this movie is such a great ending to the Kubrick movie.
Right.
It's more poetic because Jack didn't do the same thing.
Right.
And he dedicates his chip, the Alcoholics Anonymous chip, to his dad.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, holy shit, that's pretty poetic. And then at the
Yeah.
end, where he's the martyr, that's
So,
cool.
This movie, like, I immediately. So Rachel's an Audible person, and she.
This is your wife.
Yeah, so she constantly forgets that she gets credits because she's like, "Oh, remind me to pause or cancel Audible." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure." We always forget, and so her credits pile up because she
You
does.
get like a book a month or something, right?
Yeah, you
Isn't
get a
it
book
$15
a month.
a month?
It's like 12, I think. She's on some sort of student plan.
Got it.
And so they build up because she doesn't work in a place like she had been where she could just sit and listen to audiobooks anymore. You got to pay attention to being a school teacher. Who the fuck would have thought? And so
Help the kids.
She built up, and so she'll gift me a credit. And so I was like, "You got any audio credits?" And she's like, "Why?" And I was like, "I'm getting Dr. Sleep." Like immediately
Like
after the movie
Tyrone
finished,
Biggums?
I was like,
You got any of them?
"You got any Audible credits?" So let's brass tacks to it, right?
Yeah.
We are you going to watch this movie again? Absolutely, because I want to see the doctor.
I was going to say, you had never seen
the
it before,
director
so...
cut. Yeah, absolutely.
And you love it.
Oh, I'm so over for this fucking movie. I'm so over for the movie. I'm so over for the story.
Are you going to go out and buy like the 4K so you can watch the director's cut?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, the director's cut is on the blue.
Well,
So-
I'm just
Not
gonna
on the
get
4K?
blue.
Not on the
I'm gonna
4K.
get
Oh,
the
but
fucking blue
it's a
then.
combo.
It's a
deal.
combo.
So when you buy
So-
the 4K, you get the other one.
You get the 4K with the director's cut on a blue disc.
Oh yeah.
I love this movie. I've never seen the director's cut. I watched it in the theater, and I watched it 2 days ago before we sat down for this podcast. And so now I need to borrow your copy.
Well, when the time frame came out, when they put it immediately onto streaming and onto FX and all that, they hit hard with it, and I was like, "Brr." But if it's on FX, I'm gonna be like, Dr. Sleep.
Sure.
I was looking. It's not streaming right now. It should be on Max, being
Yeah.
Warner Brothers, but it's
It
not.
was, and
Yeah.
then they pulled it in their monthly
they
rotations.
do their rotations. and so on
It'll be
and so
back.
forth.
Man, how does the 4K look?
Oh,
Is
it
it
looks phenomenal.
Is it a good transfer?
It's a really good transfer. Yeah, I loved it. Oh my god, it's crisp. The colors. I mean, all the effects are so good on there. You were talking about the effects of where with Abra and Rose the Hat when they're interacting. When Rose the Hat, where she goes to find Abra and she goes kind of like
Through space?
through space,
She
and then
floats,
she
yeah.
floats down to the street.
And walks.
I was thinking
Barefoot,
of the
just
4K.
like all of it. Yeah.
but that in particular to me, I mean, that stood out. That
Never
was really
did I
really
see
good.
somebody fly like that since the boy who could fly.
Oh boy.
Since the point, it was really cool.
All right, Du. You haven't seen this. You get to go first. What's your number?
8.5.
Wow, that's a big number.
Uh-huh.
Guess what?
Okay.
8.5. Randy Kirk. 8.5.
I ranked it at 8.5.
3 for 3.
Wow.
Holy shit.
fuck.
This is unprecedented.
Yes. Put this on the
crazy.
calendar, yeah. Oh.
We've never all three agreed on anything.
Well, I think we did on one of the other ones. I forget which one, but it was a bad one. That we all went kind of the same in low end.
When we
never been
shit
the
on
same
it.
on the
Was
high
it,
end.
was it identical number? Same number?
I don't know if
as
we've
the
done
last
all
one?
three same number.
No.
Yeah. 'cause
Yeah, this is...
That's weird. That feels weird.
So this is great. I love 8.5s.
But you'll watch it again. You'll watch it.
I absolutely.
You want to watch the
I do want to watch
Oh,
the
yeah.
director's cut.
I might watch the director's cut on Sunday. Like,
Yeah, I will totally watch this again.
Yeah.
I mean, at least 2 more times.
yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
Like I said, it's on FX. It's on in the background. Yeah.
I know that at this point we've tagged Mike Flanagan on all the socials, so please, Mike Flanagan, follow us and retweet and repost, because we love you and we love your movie.
Hey, Dark Tower.
Mike Flanagan, listen to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
And everybody else, please comment and like on all of
Yeah.
our socials, in particular the YouTube.
Or if you know him, get his attention. Go, hey, listen to these guys.
Yeah, can't wait. Yeah, for whatever he does next. But yeah, we do. We're on the socials. We got the YouTube, the Facebook, we got the Instagram, the TikTok, the Twitter. We're on everywhere. So Podbean, Apple, Amazon, Spotify. Listen to us, like us, comment.
And we may revisit a King film for an upcoming series.
There's so much meat on the bone there, right?
You know, like October's kind of spooky.
Right, we're going to have to do some movies. Randy's afraid of rats, so we might have to cover 1922.
King
Yeah.
loves to cover rats.
All right.
So
Thanks, everybody. We had a lot of fucking fun doing this series.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Yeah.
I liked it. Yeah, and thank you guys for letting me bring this one to the table. Thank you guys for watching and
gosh.
discussing as
I'm
we
so
always
glad
do.
you did.
And thanks everybody for listening. So until next time, you guys.
Nighty night.
Bye-bye.